Right then, let us hop aboard the time machine, shall we? Imagine waking up in the 16th century Siam, modern day Thailand, where the sun rises over the rice paddies, elephants march in the distance, and the morning air hums with the aroma of freshly steamed sticky rice. Fancy trading places with a commoner or perhaps a royal courtier? Well, let's find out if you would survive the heat, the hierarchy, and, oh yes, the occasional crocodile-infested canals. Life in 16th century Siam began at the crack of dawn, long before alarm clocks or overpriced coffee. Farmers, who made up the bulk of the population, were up before the rooster had a chance to crow, trudging barefoot to their fields. Rice was not just food, it was life itself. Taxes paid in rice, wedding gifts, rice. Want to win over your in-laws? Better bring your finest sticky rice. Meanwhile, the urbanites of Ayutthaya, the bustling capital, had their own routines. Merchants prepared for the day's trade at the floating markets, navigating canals teeming with boats laden with fruits, vegetables, spices, and, if you were lucky, a freshly caught river fish. Picture the chaos, haggling voices, splashing oars, and maybe a monkey or two nicking mangoes. For the wealthier classes, mornings began with rituals. Buddhism was the heart and soul of Siamese life, and offering food to monks during their alms rounds was a daily duty. Imagine meticulously preparing a tray of rice, curry and tropical fruits, all while keeping your children from sneaking a bite. By midday, the tropical sun was blazing, and much of the day's heavy lifting had been done, literally. Farmers worked tirelessly in knee-deep water, planting rice seedlings, while others busied themselves weaving baskets or constructing tools. You would think a society this industrious would not have time for drama, but gossip thrived everywhere. Whether it was the latest temple scandal or the king's rumoured plans for a new trade mission, everyone had an opinion. And speaking of the king, Ayutthaya's royal court was a spectacle of its own. The Chakri dynasty was not around yet, but the rulers of Ayutthaya were no less grand. They surrounded themselves with skilled artisans, diplomats, and a horde of servants who ensured that their every whim, from elaborate banquets to golden thrones, was met. Oh, and let us not forget the royal elephants, which were adorned with silk and gold to demonstrate both power and piety. For the rest of the population, lunchtime was simple but satisfying. Grilled fish, sticky rice, and a fiery dip made from chili and fermented fish paste were staples. Yes, fermented fish paste was the marmite of its day, loved by the locals, dreaded by unprepared foreigners. As the sun dipped below the horizon, life slowed down. Families gathered to share meals and stories, sitting on woven mats under the soft glow of oil lamps. Communal living was the norm, with extended families often sharing a single household. Privacy? A luxury for the royals, not for the common folk. Evenings were also the time for festivities and cultural performances. Traditional music filled the air. Shadow puppet theatre was a popular pastime, blending art, storytelling, and a fair bit of humour. Think of it as the Netflix of the 16th century. Festivals punctuated the year, with celebrations like Loi Krathong, where people floated small decorated baskets on water to pay respects to the goddess of rivers. Imagine the shimmering spectacle of thousands of candles drifting along the Chao Phraya River. Truly magical. Now, let's talk about some quirks of the 16th century Siamese life. Did you know that touching someone's head was a massive no-no? The head was considered the most sacred part of the body, so unless you fancied offending your host, keep your hands to yourself. Then there was the curious tradition of betel nut chewing. Almost everyone from nobles to farmers chewed these nuts mixed with lime and herbs. The result? Teeth stained black as coal. Attractive? Debatable. However, it was considered a sign of beauty and, oddly enough, good hygiene. Speaking of beauty, fashion in the 16th century Siam was both practical and elegant. Men and women wore sarongs made from woven silk or cotton, often dyed in vibrant colours. Jewellery, from gold necklaces to intricate bracelets, was not just for showing off, it was a form of currency in times of need. By the 16th century, Ayutthaya had earned a reputation as a trading powerhouse. Foreign merchants from China, India, Persia, and even Europe flocked to its shores. The Portuguese were among the first Europeans to establish a presence, bringing firearms, Christianity, and much to Siam's delight, wine. Relations were not always smooth, though. Cultural misunderstandings abounded, like when the Portuguese insisted on kissing the king's hand, only to discover that Siamese protocol required subjects to prostrate themselves instead. Awkward. So, what can we learn from the daily life of 16th century Siam? Resilience, for one. Whether trolling in the fields, navigating the complexities of royal court etiquette, or mastering the art of diplomacy, the Siamese people thrive through adaptability and community spirit. They found joy in their traditions, strength in their faith, and beauty in simplicity. Perhaps most importantly, their legacy reminds us that history is not just about kings and battles. It is about the people who lived, loved, and left their mark in quieter, everyday ways. Now, there you have it. A day in the life of 16th century Siam. Not bad, eh? Sure, there were mosquitoes the size of sparrows and enough fermented fish paste to make your eyes water, but there was also a sense of harmony, a balance between nature, spirituality, and human endeavour. Now, before you dash off to brew a cup of tea and thank your stars for modern plumbing, do me a favour, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe leave a comment about whether you would have thrived or merely survived in 16th century Siam. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.